5 o'clock. I would like to open the meeting. Agenda review and disposition.
Yes, Madam Chair. Under non-public session, we're going to add contract negotiations for a follow-up to last night's interviews.
All right. Approval of the minutes of July 25th and June 27th.
I move to approve them.
Unless there are no corrections or amendments. Nope, stand approved is written there. Thank you. Student report, not yet. Mr. Halloran?
Yes, Madam Chair. I just have one request, and it comes from Campton, the Wentworth PTO. They're wondering if they can use the lawn area between the walking path, that area up along Highland Street, that green belt area right there between the walking path and then that green lawn. And they're wondering if they can use that on September 9th during the town-wide yard sale. And I said I would ask the board.
Do we let other schools?
We had, well, this is an original request. We have let Plymouth Elementary use the lawn in front of the SAU building when something was going on in front of the high school, because we use the parking lot as parking in elementary school, so there's really no areas. So we've let them come onto the lawn of the SAU. Mm-hmm. But Wentworth's it's a full member of the Hemi Baker.
Yes.
So first time we've had the request. We've never had a request like this, and it's kind of it's sort of a crazy day anyway in the town. There's not, I mean, it's not going to make parking or driving any worse.
No.
It's already bad.
So do you have any concerns?
I don't have any concerns, no.
Does anyone?
Is there enough area that it's safe enough, they can be far enough off the road?
No, it's a mess. It's a mess, but it's already a
The
mess.
cars wouldn't be, but they could be.
Yeah, they're going to be
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, that's,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
just concerned about the.
Yeah, we'll keep them behind. You have a little chain link fence there, the little chain with the posts.
Oh, okay.
So we can keep, I can tell Joe Sampson, the principal, to stay on that side of it, but the cars are everywhere. And Katie does something on their property, which is right next door, so, I mean, it's kind of a wild scene. But cars are going very slow, that's for sure, so.
Any other concerns, questions?
If this were to happen in the future with other schools requesting, would we want to make some sort of stipulation as to limiting the number of schools that would be using that property? I wonder about future requests.
I think it would be first come, first serve of the member districts, and because it's not a ton of frontage space. I mean,
That's
there's a
right.
lot of room down in the field.
Yeah.
But I mean, if all 7 districts said we'd like to use that space, we could use the field. I mean, that's not a hard thing to do. So people would get out and walk through all the stuff.
Or they could park at the school or something.
Yeah.
Walk up.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have no problem with this request at all. The question I would have is it like any other organization who, tries to get access to a school, like Boy Scouts used to use classrooms and things like that.
Yeah.
So once you say yes to one group, you can't
Yeah.
deny any other group.
Sure.
Is that?
That's true. Well, it's a PTO from Wentworth.
Yeah, no, I'm no concern with that.
Yeah.
But what when the next group that we may not be supportive of
Sure.
wants to use that space as a fundraiser?
Yeah, I think you're in trouble. I think you'd have to have a pretty good excuse, to say.
I just read, again, I'm not opposed
Yeah,
to it.
yeah. I mean,
Just-
The PTO is us.
pardon?
I mean, PTO is us, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's very supportive. I mean, they raise.
It's not like Boy Scouts or something.
No, they raise a ton of money for the Wentworth kids. They raise all the money for their 8th grade trip. They have a scholarship for our high school seniors. It's a great group. It's a very active, well-intentioned, good group.
I was just trying to make the connection of them being.
Oh, they're our member district. Yeah,
Yeah.
You're right, they're us.
Maybe that's the difference.
Yeah.
They're part,
Oh, it
they're
is to me.
integral to the
It certainly
organization.
is. Yeah.
Sure.
And we could hang our hat on
You could
that.
say, you know, any of the districts can use that field space during a townwide yard sale. And if they want to, I mean, it gently slopes down. It's a beautiful piece of land.
Yeah.
If they want to set up down there, there's plenty of room for it.
Do you need a motion on this, or just a
Just to
general
say, just give approval,
sense?
you could say approval for any of the member districts. If they want to set up a table during the townwide yard sale, they're free to. And then they can all decide what they want to do.
Is everyone okay with that? Is that the
Yeah.
general
Yeah.
sense
Yeah,
here?
that's a good way to.
Okay.
And I will tell all the principals, when I see them, that, you know, that space is there if anyone's so motivated to do it.
All right.
Will they be on the map? That's another thing. I know the town, the group that puts this together requests that people who do
Right.
yard sales get on the map, spend a couple bucks to have
Right.
that done.
Yeah, I can-
That might be a request, that
Yeah.
they comply with the,
Yes. Why don't we do that?
request of
They
the
need to
town.
comply with the rules of the yard sale,
yeah,
and then you can use that space. How's that?
I think that's,
There's nothing wrong with that.
yeah, okay.
So did you approve it as a board, that all the member districts can use that space?
Yes,
Yes.
that's, everyone was nodding heads, so.
Yes.
Terrific.
Yes.
All right.
Any other items for you?
No, thank you.
Okay.
That's enough.
Mr. Parsons?
Madam Chair, a brief report. The teacher's first day was back today, accompanied by the opening of freshman orientation. Great participation. I think we were just missing 5 kids. We called and they were either on vacation or had previous plans. Kids were well behaved. Had a long day with them, great day with them. They went through their schedule, met with different teachers, and it's a good start for them. They had an opportunity to get acquainted with their lockers. They also had an opportunity to, Amelia Fleck did a major presentation in the library. We broke the kids up into 3 different groups as we took them through. We also got them all to go through and do their food ID for the food service. Cafe Services got that job completed and got their picture taken. So that takes care of those young kids on the first day. Interesting, I had the opportunity at the very end, I had to kill some time, and I finally addressed the students in the cafeteria. And it was full. And I said, let me ask you a question, 3 questions. I said, you're real concerned, number 1, can't open your locker. 2, you're gonna get lost. And 3, the juniors and seniors. And they all nodded their heads, don't worry about it. We're good in all 3 areas. But they looked like a good group, and kudos to the staff and the administration that worked so hard to make today successful. Tomorrow's the opening of all the SAU schools will be here tomorrow. Mark is hosting a breakfast, and he has a major presentation in the lecture hall for the full staff. They should be done around 11:15, and then I have a full day planned for the staff with a number of high school issues that we'll be dealing with. And then on Thursday, I will honor the teacher's contract, and they will have that full day to prepare in their rooms. The building is in tremendous shape. And again, kudos to John Francis and Paul Pizzano and his staff. Janice has all the supplies ordered, teachers are ready to go. We're working our way through the new scheduler, which is working out pretty good. We'll be running workshops throughout tomorrow and Thursday for any teachers that need more help with that new grading system as we move forward with that. But it was a great opening day, and we look forward to 2 busy days, Wednesday and Thursday.
We have, if I may, Madam Chair, we have Chief Justice John Broderick will be talking to all the teachers about mental health issues and mental health awareness. So we're very pleased to have Justice Broderick join us tomorrow. So it should be quite a morning. We have 2 sessions, as Bruce said, we have 2 sessions prior to his address that will be at 10:15. You're all welcome to attend. We're going to be in the lecture hall, so if you're around at 10:15, please feel free to come in.
Good start to the year.
Yes, ma'am.
Progress reports, committee progress reports, facilities. Where's the thing? Thank you.
We did interviews for the construction manager position, and there were 3 companies that did presentations. They were all very professional, very well done. That's something that will be... Did we make a decision on that?
In non-public, is that correct?
Yes, we will, yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll be letting you know about that. The minutes were approved. The track committee, they're just an informational letter. They're anticipating raising some money, and they're looking at hopefully being able to do a study on the feasibility of the track itself. They've got some grants going. Okay, so the facilities administrative assistant. There was a job description put together. Mr. Halloran explained that in lieu of hiring a clerk of the works for the CTE renovations, that John Francis would act as a clerk of the works, and this facilities administrative assistant would help John Francis with his other workload. So take up some of what he's going to be busy with the project. Motion was made to accept the job description as written and send it to the full board.
And what is the title? That's facilities and...
Facilities administrative assistant.
And
For the term of the contract, instead of paying clerk of the works, which is a significant amount of money, and as I said last night, having 2 chefs in the kitchen with John Francis, our facilities director, and someone else running this project, made more sense to me, and I would have more confidence in John overseeing the project. But then he's not able to do an awful lot of the administrative stuff that he has to get done. So my solution to that is that we would hire, and the money is Plymouth Regional High School money, so the support staff position would fall under the collective bargaining agreement for the support staff. So we would hire somebody under the terms and conditions of the collective bargaining agreement for the term of the construction project. So it's a moment in time for that specific job. And I think, quite frankly, economically, it'll work out better for us. And I know, just personality-wise, it will work out a lot better for us.
so coming from the committee is the recommendation
Yes,
to
approve that job description.
approve the job
position.
description for facilities administrative assistants.
Correct.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And it looks like it's unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Next item was the real estate opportunity that is the parcel abutting the Fletcher property. There was some discussion, and Mr. Deitchman requested that the committee have an opportunity to walk the property to look at it, and then discuss it further after that. So Mr. Halloran was going to look into arranging that for us. And bus company name change. The Robertson Transit is now going to be known as Durham School Services, beginning this fall. So it was bought out by another company. So the buses, the writing on the buses is going to change. So it's going to say Durham School Services on the sides of the buses. So people may be a little confused
Yeah.
that we're not down in the seacoast, we're actually.
No one does.
Plymouth,
Taking
but,
it, yes.
Yeah, so
How's that?
that's that. And that was the next meeting of the committee, September 18th, and that was it.
All right, thank you. Policy and budget.
Thank you,
Peter?
Madam Chair. Minutes of June 26th stand approved as written. CTE financing documents, Dan Rosner. He explained that the financing would be a revolving line of credit to fund the full project and pay all the construction bills. The monthly payments would be interest only on the money and used each month. No principal at 2% interest through February 2019. Each month, Mr. Rosner will submit an accounting of CTE renovation expenses to be reimbursed 75% from the state. After further discussion, a motion was made by Mrs. Sullivan, seconded by Mrs. Ebner, to bring this forward to the full board tonight. The vote was unanimous. So currently we are making a motion for Dan to proceed as described to handle the CTE financing.
All right.
And that's at 2% for the lifetime of the note. That was the low bid in the market.
Nice work. All those in favor?
Aye.
And that's unanimous again.
And Cappy has some documents that
They're working their
they're
way
working their way
around.
around. Thank you very much.
MS 25/DOE, numbers decisions. Mr. Rosner requested that the MS 25/DOE numbers be approved and signed now in anticipation of submittal later in the month. A motion was made by Mrs. Sullivan, seconded by Mr. Pettingill, to move on this to the full board for signatures tomorrow evening. The vote was unanimous.
We have the final numbers for you tonight. We got right on it after the meeting. It's all right with Peter, I'll walk through the numbers right now for you.
Fine with me.
In the handout, it says Pemmy Baker Regional School District Financial Report. All of you have a copy of it? That's it. On the front page is sort of the summary of everything. As we said last night, we have fund equity of $700,800.71 all the way down in that column. There's a few years there to give you historical perspective. Encumbrances are $348,007. The retained fund balance, which the committee dealt with last night, that means that this money is going off into an account for 1 year. And if you need it, you have to call a public hearing to say why you're taking out of its retainage. If we don't use it, it goes back into your fund equity as we close out next year. And then the unreserved fund balance, this amount of money is the amount of money that goes back to reduce taxes, and that is $249,113.51. We had forecasted for the public at the district meeting that it would be approximately $200,000. So we're about $50,000 higher than expected, which is always good news when you're setting tax rates. So that's the overall general piece. The second page is your revenues. And what we do is obviously track the revenues on a monthly basis. And if we're not doing well, then that means we slow spending down because we're not hitting our revenue targets. That means we can't spend what we had projected. As you walk through, you can see we did better than we thought in catastrophic aid, in adequacy aid, and both of those numbers, you see the budget numbers, both of them are given to us by the state. So luckily for us, it was higher than what the state told us it was going to be. Voc Ed, that's state contribution toward all the vocational kids, a little less than what they thought. In the thermal recs, those are the thermal recs that we're selling from the biomass plant that's here. The majority of that money will be coming in the next fiscal year. I just saw a check for over $12,000 from the sale of thermal recs. So that'll be showing up in next year's account. Medicaid reimbursement, we did an awful lot better than we expected, but the sad story of that is that we had to spend a lot more money than we thought we were going to do in order to get that reimbursement. So you'll see overages on the appropriation side, but here's offsetting revenues for it. IDA reimbursement, that's special ed, right on the nose. You go down into local revenue, and those are the tuitions. We projected $426,000 in tuition revenue. We actually brought in $517,471 in tuition. And as you go down, down in A, you see the subscript A, and we'll go down underneath. Regular ed, we projected $400,000. We got $405,000 in regular ed aid. Those are from Waterville Valley, Warren, Ellsworth, from those districts. Parents, you see $7,702. Warren pays for their freshmen only up to a certain amount of money, and families that want to send the kids here pay the difference, and those are the payments from the families in Warren who had freshmen here. Eventually, all 4 classes will be. Sophomores, juniors, and seniors were grandfathered at whatever our tuition rate was. Special ed, those are from your districts, $90,000. That is special ed kids from Ellsworth, Waterville Valley, yeah, those are the only 2 districts that. And then vocational ed, that's money from Newfound. We didn't have as many Newfound kids as we usually do. So you can see, and then summer school, Grant picked up the tab, so there was going to be no revenue coming in from it. So you can see where we got the 517 from. The rest, earnings on investment, not as good as we had expected. Co-curricular, that's money that's transferred to the general fund that's collected by the building, either in football gate or theater gate or whatever, however we're making money. Special ed, we didn't need the grant, so that's it looks like an offset that we didn't get 104, but we offset it on the appropriation side. Miscellaneous revenue is exactly what it is, $9,700. And E-rate reimbursement, almost $5,000. So we overall we did very, very well with our revenues. Next page shows you food service sales of $171,000. Those are cash sales. State and federal sales of $105,000. Those are accounts that are going to be reimbursed, and there's no district subsidy. So it was $276,000 moving through the system. You can see the expenses. The cafe services contract was $276,631. Miscellaneous. And then revenue and expense was 0. We wrote off a couple of accounts receivable. We wrote them off on our books. Doesn't mean we're still not trying to collect them. So we just cleaned the account out. So your fund balance is $21,271.78. Remember, the goal for us was always just to not have any property tax money subsidizing food service. And so we significantly met that goal. And then there are 2 very small capital reserve funds, building renovations and special ed. They've collected a little interest, but there's not a lot there. So that was the finance of the year. We had a good year. I'd like to thank Bruce for all his help, Janice for all her help. And it's kind of an unwieldy budget. Not that the format is pretty straightforward. It's just juggling the comings and goings of all kinds of people.
Can you clear up for me, please,
Sure.
Medicaid reimbursement?
Yes, those are Medicaid eligible kids that are getting medical services in the school, and so we bill those services back to the federal government, and we get reimbursed a small portion of it. And it may be, a service may cost us $100. The feds say, that's a $60 service, and then they'll give us $30 on the $60. So, but, you know, and I give fair to Judd Gregg, when he was a U.S. Senator, did a great job getting Medicaid reimbursement into the world. We didn't get this a number of years ago. This is new revenue that's been a big help for us.
So why did that come in 50,000 over?
Because
what
we
expected?
pick up some kids that we didn't know were Medicaid eligible.
Okay, all right, thank you.
But they
A
have
lot of paperwork, Joe.
It's an awful lot of paperwork. But, we chase every dime we can chase.
Okay, thank you.
And the MS 25 and the DOE 25, you only have to sign one copy now. Remember I used to come over with stacks of these things? No more, just one copy, and everything is going electronically, but they still want one. There's a special block for the chair to sign on both of those pages, but those numbers reflect everything that's right here. Thank you, Peter.
Board Member Stipend Survey, SAU 48. After discussion, a motion was made by Mr. Pettingill, seconded by Mrs. Ebner, to recommend to the full board an increase in the board's annual salary from $1,000 to $1,250. The vote was unanimous.
I have a question.
You do.
What does this mean on the bottom? They have not paid any other members, 4,000, what is that? What does that mean?
That's holiness. God only knows.
Yeah, that's just that's a survey of all the districts within SAU 48.
I believe it was, the attempt was to match the elementary school.
Oh, I see, okay.
So we are increasing by how much per board member?
$250, except the chair, which remains the same.
Doesn't matter to me. I'm not gonna block one way or the other on this. So all those in
Well,
favor?
Can I just say something?
Yes.
I'm just so it doesn't come, I'm gonna vote in opposition to this. I just don't think it's something we ought to do.
I agree. I feel the same.
And when was the last time it was?
Probably 12, 14 years ago.
So we have a motion to increase the salary $250 per year. I'm going to ask for a raise of hands on those in favor of.
Do we want to discuss it a little more?
I'm assuming it was discussed at the
Discussion, yeah,
committee.
We could have a little bit.
Yeah.
absolutely.
All right, with a couple more members here, I was wondering if they had input and wanted to say anything else.
Last night I voted in support of bringing it to the board.
To the board, yeah.
So that the board could have discussion. But I just don't think, not that much money, and I just think
Yeah.
that, in my opinion, the public relations end of it isn't worth.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts about that?
I generally feel the same way. I mean, I generally don't think that, again, it's just an opinion, I don't think that all of us volunteer our time, and probably the time we spend, it's probably a lot less than a small percentage of minimum wage. So I feel the same way about the slight increase of 250 isn't good.
And I do have to say that I vote only if there is a tie, but if there is a tie, I would vote not to have the increase. Because I feel it's the PR is just not necessary. But that, again, is my opinion.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from.
I don't think the figure is unreasonable. I mean, I don't think 1250 is unreasonable for a service on the board. It's more of a philosophical issue.
Mhm.
It's not the exact figure, I'll just put it that way.
Any other discussion? So all those in favor of the increase, please raise your hand. 2. All those opposed? 2, 4, okay. So that does not pass.
There was no other business, and the next meeting is September 18th. And a motion was made by Mrs. Hebner and seconded by Mrs. Sullivan to adjourn at 5:45.
Thank you. Program staffing?
Yes, we met last night and approved the minutes from June 26th. We received a letter from the NEASC regarding the accreditation cycle. We had requested that they might accommodate a change in schedule so that the next accreditation would happen while our current administration is here, so that they weren't passing this on to a new person. Mr. Parsons explained that this report needs to be ready by the end of this year or beginning of next year. Is that right? Okay. The administration will be working with the teachers and steering committee to define the areas in which we can improve. No other business, and went into non-public session for personnel and nominations.
Yeah, I know.
Future meeting on September 18th.
Thank you. Discussion items, any other business?
I just want to call the board's attention to, at your retreat, you asked if you could get a chart of school board meetings, and it's attached to tonight's agenda, and you get to see the entire SAU. Yeah. And as per the retreat, if we don't have enough material for an agenda, we will contact Cappy, and Cappy has the authority to say yes or no on a meeting. But we will meet September 5th. It may not be a heavy agenda, but it's an opening of school agenda, and I think Ben Parsons will be here as your student rep, and we'll have a whole opening of school thing. So you may not be overwhelmed with work, but there'll be a lot of information, and if you like, you can tour the building and do what we want. But I definitely would like to have that meeting.
All right. Thank you for doing that. Board member concerns? And there's no, do I hear a motion to go into non-public session for an update on negotiations and personnel? So moved. Peter seconded. Sam?
Yes.
Yes.